Welcome, Hawk fans. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. I'm your host, Colin Cole. And of course, we have another awesome show to bring to you today. And we're going to talk, of course, we're going to talk Big Ten title game and all of the things that came out of that. But first, I got to introduce my resident guest host, two-time All Big Ten, 3-year started offensive tackle, luxury real estate mogul, also 2002 team captain as well. Got to make sure I introduce this man to the properly. He's also the great outdoorsman. He moonlights as the guy that's out there just making things happen. So without further ado, welcome to the show, David Porter. David, thank you for joining me today.
Man, I appreciate you. Yeah, you got it wrong. I wasn't captain. That was you. You were the captain. You were two-time All Big Ten.
No, you're right. You're right. I was captain, but you're the team MVP. Team MVP. That's right.
Yeah, you were the captain. And MVP on defense too. I remember that with Freddie Barr. Yeah. Yeah, All-American too, defensive tackle. But don't worry. One day you're gonna let me introduce you. It's gonna be great. I promise you. I got you.
Anyways, hey, I appreciate having you on the show, man. You are an awesome addition to the show. You always bring all the great insight and make this thing pop, man. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, David. This past Saturday night, the number 13 Iowa Hawkeyes took on the number 2 ranked MIchigan Wolverines at Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis, Indiana, and 42-3. I mean, really, we can go pretty much anywhere with this conversation, but we'll start with the fact of the matter that being that the team just was overmatched, it was outclassed and overmatched in this game, and all the statistics aside, everything else that comes along with it, there were opportunities in this game for this team in every facet, but overall, just did not perform up to the level of a championship caliber team to be able to be be crowned the champions of the Big Ten. Michigan definitely played and took control of that game, and that's what was on full array on Saturday night, David. So let's jump right into it. Offensively, the Hawks were unable to move the ball consistently. They had 279 total yards compared to Michigan's 461. Jump right into it, man. You were there and you got an opportunity to see the game. What was your first take on what we saw starting off this game right off in the first quarter? I mean, and we'll go right through it.
The first quarter, when I looked at it, you were there too. So like the team came out. It's like, okay, cool. We're in for a real game because Michigan came out. It was a 3-and-out for them. Our defense showed up and hit them right in the mouth. They're ready to go. And then our offense came out and we had a 10-play drive for 59 yards. I'm like, cool. All right, here we go. And then we got stalled. And then we missed a field goal. And I looked at the sideline. I was like, these guys look deflated. I'm like, come on. It's just one play. It's okay. We can overcome this. This is not a big deal. That didn't quite happen because momentum, that shifted quickly because Michigan came back out and had 4 plays and an 80-yard touchdown. And 80 yards over 4 plays, touchdown. That was a turning point for us. That was when momentum really shifted. You know, we had Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan. He had a 67-yard rushing touchdown. And at that point, that's when we started playing catch up. And we were behind the 8 ball and we just never caught up. Our offense went back out and it was a 3-and-out. And then Michigan went out. And then one play, they scored a touchdown too. I'm not sure what you call that play. I don't know if you call it a flea flicker, but it was yeah, they scored that touchdown. What do you call that one?
I would say it's more like a double pass. So you threw it out to the receiver and the receiver threw it. Right?
Yeah. So like that right there, the whole momentum, you could feel the energy just shift from Iowa to Michigan. It all went to Michigan, all over there. And they just rolled. From that moment on, they rolled. I mean, we ended up scoring a field goal, and we got back on. We did our 10 plays. We got 71 yards. We held onto the ball for like 4 minutes. and then we got a field goal out of it. Again, we're not producing those touchdowns like we wanted, but hey, we're scoring points. We got something. We got our 3, and that was it for the whole game. That offense really just never got going. Our defense, the final score does not tell the tale of what our defense did out there. It does not. Those dudes, I promise you, I've been saying the whole season, they are special. That's a special defense. That fourth quarter is where Michigan scored 21 points. That was half of the point total, and by then it was over. They had given all they had to give, and unfortunately, our offense just never really stepped up and gave them the relief that they needed and they deserved. For as valiant of an effort as that defense put on out there, the score just doesn't reflect it. It really doesn't. Man, I did some, me and my numbers and facts and things. I like that stuff. So I went back and I looked at it. Like since the bye week, it's been really our special teams and our defense. They've been outscoring our offense. I mean, special teams and defense has 59 points since the bye week. Right? That includes Wisconsin and this Michigan game. And you look at our offense, they're going to score 56 points. I'm even including the extra point, giving that to the offense. So like there is something out there where our offense is just not effective. Whatever it is, we got to figure that out. QB, we kind of have this rotating thing going on between Spencer and Alex. If we get some stability there, that'll bring some stability to the offense. We've always said we're kind of a plan and go kind of offense. Like you make up your mind and we go with it. We kind of lost that there. So I don't know what's going on with that. I think we're going to figure it out. Kirk and Brian, the offense coordinator, we got to figure these things out. That's their job.
That is their job. That's a part of being a head coach. That's a part of being an offensive coordinator. You have to be able to produce. And, I think one of the telltale things that you made mention to is since the bye week, what those numbers are. We talked a little bit about this previously, about just how we assumed that things would definitely take a turn, because we looked going into that bye, having played the Purdue Boilermakers and lost that game, definitely the thought process was having an opportunity to kind of go back and, go see what worked during the season, what didn't work, and come out with a game plan. And after 2 weeks of being off, kind of come back and against the Wisconsin Badgers and show that this offense can really do with some good grounded time and focused time on the next opponent. But they were unable to get it done there as well. So it's been an ongoing issue throughout the season in terms of how this team has rolled. They've had some great offensive output games, but in some of these games, obviously in 3 games, the offense clearly just wasn't able to get it done, and particularly in this last game. To only be able to have 3 points on the board, it just really doesn't speak well to a team that gets the opportunity to get to the Big Ten championship via winning the West. And, you made mention to that double pass. Right before that, I remember, I think it was a drive before that, was the play where Gavin Williams tried to try the halfback pass, I think, to Potabom, and just came up just short. And I think that was I think that honestly, if they complete that pass against that score right there, I think that we have a different game because things are more wide open. But just like you said, that team that was on the field definitely was deflated after that instance happened. So we know that this game it's a funny game, and momentum is a funny thing. You never know what's going to bring momentum your way. You never know what can happen to cause momentum to shift away from you. And this game was one that really was fragile in terms of the Hawks to be able to pull out this upset. Just had to really snag it right away. And like you said, going 3 and out, defensively coming out and going 3 and out and creating that opportunity for the offense to score points first. And, with the unfortunate missed field goal by Caleb Shudak, things just kind of went on a roll for the Wolverines since then. But we got to go back to the Hawks and kind of talk about this quarterback situation. We talked early in the season about some of the reports that Alex Padilla was possibly the best quarterback on the roster. Spencer Petras clearly controlled that quarterback position, that starting quarterback role. And, through no fault of his own, through injuries, Alex gets the opportunity to play and he's performed well. But we know what happened against Nebraska with Spencer coming back into the game and being able to provide that spark to get the team over the hump and get this team into the Big Ten championship in the first place. What do you think moving into this bowl season? What do you think the focus is for this offense in terms of who's going to be the starting quarterback and how they figure out this coaching carousel? I said coaching carousel. I meant to say quarterback carousel.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier because I look at it, okay, well, one guy can provide a spark and then the other guy comes out and then the other guy comes in, he provides a spark. It's like, okay, we're always looking for the spark because I was thinking back to Penn State. I kind of started out similarly to how we started with Michigan, kind of like sputtering, but then we had this one spark that just kind of got us going. And it seems like we're always looking for that one spark. And we're getting at the quarterback position. We're saying we need that one spark from our QB. I'm not sure who is the better quarterback. From what I saw, Alex seems to be the more mobile quarterback, and that seems to be what we need right now, especially with our offensive line playing the way that they're playing. We need somebody that can step up into the pocket, that can actually climb through the pocket and make a play on his feet, and not always have to rely. I saw Spencer scramble once and he got hit. My goodness. I thought he broke his hip. I really did. It was, wow. But getting a more mobile quarterback out there will definitely help to extend plays, to create some new plays, and put a defense in a precarious position. Alex, to me, clearly is the guy that has not only the arm strength, I know he's not as tall, but he gets the ball where he needs to be. And he also has the foot and agility, the foot speed and agility to get out and make some plays out there as well. So to create some plays that wouldn't normally happen. We had a guy like that when we were playing. Brad Banks wasn't so bad.
No doubt. Being able to have a guy that can create plays on his own with his feet really is an added bonus. And as we saw, Michigan's quarterbacks were able to do some of that. And so it's, when we look at it, man, how does this offense start to really find its way and start to put themselves in position to get points? I mean, we look at the run game, we had just over 100 total yards, but it ends up being Gavin Williams ends up being the leading rusher with 56 total yards on 12 carries. Tyler Goodson ends up being second with 50 total yards off 18 carries. So right away with 30 carries, you got both your leading rushers at only getting 106 total yards. So the ground game, like we may have mentioned in the pregame, ground game had to be stellar. It had to be a force. When you have a defense as strong and stout as this Iowa Hawkeye defense, you have to be able to play complementary football and keep them off the field as much as possible in terms of, sustaining drives, and particularly sustaining drives with the run game. Wasn't able to do that against these Michigan Wolverines, but what do we have to see going forward, particularly in the bowl season? Because this is the biggest part about college sports. When you get the opportunity to play in bowl games, this is when these coaches get opportunity to really get these extra practices in, get these extra workouts in, and that's what gives these teams this advantage going into the following season, going into spring ball and then the following season. So having this extra opportunity to get out there on the field and work at some of these things is key moving forward, and especially for the younger offensive linemen that will be back and be starters for this team next year. Of course, we already know Lindenbaum is probably going to be gone. Schott is a senior, so you got a couple of younger guys out there on the edges. And so, how does this coaching staff attack trying to move forward with this offense? We already know in terms of what offensive outputs look like for our receiving core. It has not been stellar, right? We tout ourselves as being tight end U, and that goes for saying specifically because our tight end leads our core receivers, in receptions with 46 and receiving yards with 548. The next closest guy to him is Keegan Johnson with 352. So what, in your opinion, does this offense need to do to really move forward, man? Just focusing on becoming a better offense as a whole.
Well, to me, it starts with talent. That's a big deal, right? Making sure we have the right guys in the right positions to do the right things at the right time, right? And then we'll have the right outcome. I looked at the Michigan offensive line, and they were big, they were huge, and they were moving. They were moving our defensive line around. And they did the same thing I've been talking about all season. They were leaning heavy. By the time you got down to the fourth quarter, hey, our guys were beat up, and they had taken some plays. I mean, they really only had like 10 extra plays over Michigan, over Michigan's offense. Over Michigan's defense. Take that backwards. But they were just leaning heavier, right? Because Michigan's offense was able to have more sustained drives. They had the momentum. You get that offensive line together, you see that running game start to change. You start to see that transformation occur because those holes that are now, say, 4 or 5 feet wide, they end up being more like, 2 yards wide or 3 yards wide or 5. They start getting bigger. The down lineman that's being pushed now maybe a yard or half a yard gets pushed more like 3-4 yards. Things start to shift. Things start to transform where you have a good solid pocket. You get that nice bell curve of a pocket where your center and your 2 guards are really set in the front of that pocket, and your tackles are your bookends. And say, no, you can't come in here. You start having that stuff occur, and it's all these little things that start to add up because we have a good running back. We do. But the running game is only going to be as good as that offensive line is. Right? Go back to Emmitt Smith, amazing running back. But his offensive line, phenomenal. A good running back, if you're going to see a really phenomenal running back, they're going to have a good offensive line in front of them. Right now, in our offensive line, the cohesion's not there. I don't know if we're talking to each other as well as we should be. When I look at our technique, especially we come out of the bye week, we talked about that. We were still opening the gate. What was his name? Adrian Hutchinson. He he did some moves out there. I'm like, wow. It was a double hand swipe one time. You're talking about that. Like, this guy's now the first time ever defensive MVP. No, first time defensive player to be an MVP of the Big Ten championship game. Him, ever. So it just speaks to like what we were doing out there. An offensive lineman as a defensive end to be an MVP, that's tough. That's really tough. So as an offensive lineman, that's tough for me to hear. It's a good game for a defensive lineman to, and a good game. It's 1, maybe 2 sacks, especially in college. And that's out of like 70 plays. He got MVP. And he only had 1 sack. Right? He was disruptive. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just taking sacks. He was disruptive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. You're absolutely right. It was not just the sack production. It was definitely the hits, the hurries, all the stuff that he was able to do. Yeah, we talked about that one play where he was able to give the offensive tackle the double hand swipe and then come back with the arm over on the running back. That's elite type pass rushing, and he was effective throughout that game. So that and like you made mention to, that was only 1 sack. He was able to get that accolade. But I mean, it just goes to show how much he was able to affect that game, the course of that game through his play. And it's man. I mean, I look at these numbers, man. Look at these stats. They're not overwhelming numbers. They're not overwhelming stats. I mean, Hassan Haskins obviously with the 2 touchdowns, and then Blake Corum with the long touchdown for their first touchdown. But it's like, man, these guys, it was a winnable game for this group, and things go one way or the other, one direction or the other. Things could have been completely different. Could have been a different outlook. But I don't think that when you look at it, I don't think that this group was. I don't think that this group was in a position where they would have had a letdown, because they just came in hungry. They came in with the fury that they were going to go ahead and take this whole thing over. And even going into the game, man, even like you mentioned too, I was there just like you were there. Even to start this game, it just didn't have a great feel to it. Like we were just being in the stands, we were looking up at the scoreboard. I don't know if you noticed this, but underneath on the scoreboard, they always have the team and their mascots. So on the Michigan side, it said Michigan Wolverines, but on our side, it said the Iowa Buckeyes is what it said. And I don't know if that was a foregone. I don't know if that was something like that Michigan fans hate Ohio State that much, or if they would overlook, or if honestly, I don't know what happened. But I will tell you this: I've been a part of a number of those. I've been there on media day, and they test these things hours and days in advance to make sure that they have the right stuff up there, have the right stuff being represented. And for whatever reason, that scoreboard said Iowa Buckeyes. And I don't think we recovered from that. It felt like the disrespect here. And it just continued throughout the night. And then the other thing, we as Hawkeye fans, I'm so used to going to games where so we went to College Park in Maryland, and it was a lot of black and gold there, right? We almost had half the stadium taken up there. But in Lucas Oil Stadium, we were outnumbered, majorly outnumbered by those Wolverines fans, and they were boisterous, and they made it difficult on us as well. They made that environment daunting too, man.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of people, and on the Iowa side, it was a foregone conclusion that we were not going to be in the game. We weren't going to win. I think that's what they thought. That's what Iowa. We travel well. We show up, and we didn't show up for these guys. I looked at the game. I was like, I'm with you. I'm looking out there. I'm like, wow, it's a lot. There are a lot of Michigan fans here. There are a lot of them, and maybe the team felt it. I don't know. With a team like this, we need everything. We need everyone. We need to hit on all cylinders. Special teams, offense, defense, and that 12th man. Need them to show up. We need everybody, and we need everything. Because this game, special teams, they got it. Our offense got it. And in the end, our defense got it. And they dominated us on the fans, too. It was a total domination out there by Michigan. And it hurts me to say that. It was.
Yeah. It hurts to say it too, man, but it's the truth. The truth hurts, but it is what it is. So we'll move on from what was most certainly an embarrassment is probably the best word. Embarrassment in terms of how things turned out. But to say the least, there's still opportunity. And we'll move forward because guess what? There's a bowl game at 10-3. This is still one of the top teams in Hawkeye history with a record of 10-3. And moving forward, they have the opportunity on January 1st at 1:00 p.m. to play against a quality opponent in the Kentucky Wildcats down in the BRBO Citrus Bowl. And so we're going to bring to you guys some pregame on that. But no, man, the season's not lost. There's still a good group of seniors that's on this team and have an opportunity to go out on a high note. This season really opened some eyes in terms of where this program is. And I think that the biggest part about what you can take away from this season is that there's definitely a lot of pieces that this team can rally around and continue to grow with. Obviously, got to figure out the quarterback situation going into the bowl game and then going into next season. But that's something that will play itself out, especially if it's an open competition type of thing. The right person will play themselves into the position of being the starting quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be that guy. And in the time being, we're going to all sit back and watch and enjoy and root on our great Hawkeyes. So Dave, what do you think, man? Kind of closing thoughts on Big Ten championship game?
Yeah, it was. Well, this was our one. We had an opportunity. You know, Michigan hadn't won a Big Ten championship since 2004. Neither have we. That was the last time we won, and you know, we had a chance to say, "Hey, we're here." And unfortunately, not everybody. We didn't all show up the way we needed to. Our special teams continues to be special for us. Our defense is still fighting out there. You know, we do need to get our offense figured out. You know, that right there that's been our thing since the bye week, really, maybe even before. I think I've been talking about this pretty much the whole season. But the getting that piece figured out, settling in on quarterback, you know, making some I want to say some tough choices here that need to be made before the bowl game, and getting our offensive line together. That's really going to be our thing that we right the ship, right? The first thing we do is we look for opportunities to get better. We know we have some good strengths, but there are plenty of opportunities for us to get better. Plenty of them. We started addressing those, and yeah, we'll go back to winning.
That's right. That's right. Definitely have some time to get some focused practices in and get the guys ready, especially for this bowl game, because as difficult as the season has been in terms of kind of been an up and down season, there's still opportunity to end this season on a high note, and for these young men to come out and claim themselves a bowl victory. So it's always a great opportunity, especially this time of year, to really see who rises to the top. And I'm excited to see where these guys, how they take advantage of this time and how they get themselves prepared for a bowl game. One that particularly, I would say 2 months ago, that we as Hawkeye Nation were looking for something a little bit better. But I think the best part about this is that we know what we have and we know where we need to go from here. And we have the right people in place to set us that way. And if we don't, we have the people in place that have the decision-making ability to put us up on the right place and the right track to move forward. So things got to get fixed and things got to get figured out moving forward. But no question in my mind as to whether or not Kirk Ferentz is in position to make these decisions, as well as put the team first and put the team in the best possible position to win games. So we'll see how things move forward. And with that, this is our show, and it's been a good one. And appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you all. And David, thank you for joining me. It's been a long season. We still got the bowl game to go, but I'm excited to see how these Hawks, you know, how they show up after what has been probably one of the more difficult losses of the season, but rally around their team, rally around the coaches, and finish off with a huge opportunity and a huge win. So with that, I'm Colin Cole. For my man David Porter, we appreciate you guys for joining us. And until next time, God bless and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.